Welcome to the Organ Loft here at Hereford Cathedral. I'm Peter Dyke and I'm the Assistant Director of Music. We are holding a rather special concert later on this month. I'm going to be playing Messiaen's La Nativitè du Seigneur, the Nativity of the Saviour. This is a very special work that was written in 1936 by the French composer Olivier Messiaen, who was organist of La Trinité Church, which is in Paris, a couple of blocks behind the Opéra. You can still see the church now, and there's a nice memorial to Messiaen inside. What is the piece? Well, it's 9 meditations on the Christmas story. Not just on the familiar characters of the Christmas story, like the Virgin and Child, the shepherds, the wise men, but also on rather more abstract concepts, the children of God, the Word. He attempts to try and find the profound in the Christmas story. How does he do that? Well, people sometimes say, I'm not really sure about the music of Messiaen. Messiaen's music sounds a bit sort of jarring to me. And that's because he uses a very different technique of writing. Where we might use, for example, we're used to hearing notes from, say, a major scale. Which gives us a set of notes that gives us a sense of direction and a sense of homecoming. We know when it's finished, it sounds rounded off. Messiaen, however, uses a completely different set of notes. He uses several different sets of notes, in fact, but this is one example. Immediately you can hear it's not quite so settled. You feel slightly without foundation somehow, don't you? You feel as if you're slightly left up in the air. But Messiaen wants to use these techniques in order to illustrate some of the interesting mysteries of the Christmas story. And using those particular notes, you end up with some lovely, interesting chords, like, for example, the richness of these that leave you questioning, where are we? Where are we? There it is. He also uses rhythm, as you can hear, in a completely different way. Rather than just having 3 or 4 beats in every bar, like the sort of songs or tunes that we can whistle and take home, he has completely different patterns. Now, in this way, he sets us free from what we normally think, and it sets our minds free to think about different things. We are hearing a completely different song of the angels, for example, that might be a little bit startling to us, but maybe it gives us an idea about what the shepherds experienced when they saw these rather startling things in a rather more accurate way when you're hearing Messiaen, perhaps, than when you're listening to Hark the Herald Angels Sing for the 18th time. So if I may play a little bit of the angels to you. And so on. They're completely joyful, but it's slightly unusual and it sounds a little bit strange. So, what will you hear if you come to the concert on the 28th of January? You'll hear 9 pictures in sound representing the different sides of the story of the Nativity. Each one is absolutely vivid in its portrayal of its particular subject and completely contrasting. The organ is a fantastic box of sound effects, and Messiaen uses them to the full. The quietest sounds, the loudest sounds, the most profound sounds, the longest and slowest sounds, and also some very quick music as well. I wouldn't expect you to come to the concert thinking, oh, well, I'm going to hear lots of jolly tunes that I can go home whistling. It's much more a different way of listening to music. It's like a difference between drinking orange squash and drinking a very fine, rich red wine. You expect something rather different, a rather different experience that's very rich and very different. To help your meditation, we're going to be showing some pictures on the screen. Rather than pictures live from the organ loft, you'll be able to see some pictures of modern artworks, which also represent the Nativity story. We're going to use some rather interesting modern stained glass, and in that way, with focusing on the visual image you see before you, you'll be able to think on the subject and perhaps suspend time in the way that Messiaen also does so. So the concert itself is on the 28th of January. It starts at 7 p.m. Tickets cost £5. You can get them from the cathedral website, or in fact just simply buy them on the door if you like. Come and wrap up warm, because it's sometimes a little bit chilly in the cathedral in January, but the concert will be over in an hour. It won't take very long, so it'll be a unique experience which I think you will enjoy very much.